All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are tackling something that I'm sure many of us have faced, those frustrating, damaging, and just plain wrong stereotypes about getting older. You know the ones? We get profiled as slow, incompetent, or maybe just past it. But these are not harmless little jokes. They are ideas that get planted early in our lives, and they do real damage. So it's time we rewrote that script with the hard facts. Okay, let's dive in. Yeah, you know how it starts. It's often with a little comment, just like this. Maybe it's supposed to be a joke, right? But it's the perfect example of this widespread negative assumption. It basically implies that once you hit a certain age, incompetence is inevitable. And it's exactly that kind of thinking that we are going to take apart today. So it's really crucial to understand what we're up against here. An age stereotype isn't just some person's bad opinion. No, it's a deep-seated cultural belief. It's this idea that says once you hit a certain birthday, your capabilities just fall off a cliff. But as we're about to see, that picture is just fundamentally wrong. So where did all this junk come from anyway? Well, this whole mindset was basically baked into society decades ago, back in a time when retiring at 65 really did mean you were near the end of your active life. The world has changed so dramatically since then, but this old, dusty software, it's somehow still running in the background of our culture. This is the big question, isn't it? If the whole model is from the 80s, does it even hold up to the evidence we see all around us today? The answer is a huge, resounding no. And you know what? The proof is absolutely everywhere, and in some of the most demanding arenas on the entire planet. Let's just start with the number, 45. That's the age Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. I mean, think about that. In a sport where careers were pretty much considered over at 35, he just completely rewrote the rulebook, showing us just how far our understanding of capability has really come. And listen, Tom Brady isn't some lone exception to the rule. He's actually part of a massive wave of athletes who are just demolishing the old timelines, proving that peak performance is not just for the young, not anymore. Just look at this list. You've got LeBron James, who's still an absolute powerhouse, Novak Djokovic and Serena Williams competing at the highest levels well into what people used to call retirement age. Now, this isn't magic. It's a testament to smarter training, better nutrition, and, the kind of wisdom that only experience can bring. And it's not just the superstars. The Senior Games sees thousands of athletes competing fiercely. And if you want hard data, well, here it is. These are not just some feel-good stories. These are official records. A man over 100 years old running the 100-meter dash in under 40 seconds. A woman in her late 90s throwing a javelin. I mean, these performances would have been called absurd 40 years ago, but today, they're just facts. Okay, so if our bodies are proving all the old limits wrong, why does this mental stereotype hang around? Why do so many of us still get talked down to or overlooked or treated like we're incapable? Well, the answer is that this isn't just an external problem. It has a really dangerous way of getting inside our own heads. And this right here, this is the absolute core of the issue. The constant messaging, that low-level profiling you get from doctors, employers, sometimes even family. It's not just annoying. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that can actually shape what we believe about ourselves and, ultimately, what we become. Let's break down this vicious cycle step by step. It all starts with that external message. You hear it enough times and that internal doubt starts to creep in. Then, that doubt leads to changes in your behavior. Maybe you stop trying to learn that new skill, or you cut back on your activity. And what happens then? Well, your mind and body, kind of starved of a challenge, they naturally begin to slow down. And then, tragically, that decline is used as proof that the stereotype was right from the start. This isn't just a theory. Research shows very clearly that when people internalize these negative age stereotypes, it has severe, measurable health consequences. People who buy into that "I'm old and useless" narrative, they show higher rates of depression and they face a greater risk of actual cognitive decline. The stereotype literally makes people sick. But here's the really good news. We can flip this script. And the truth is powerful. Where the myth sees slower, the reality is actually wiser, more strategic thinking that comes from decades of experience. Where the myth sees frail, the reality is a resilience built through smart, consistent effort. And that whole idea that you can't learn? Wrong. The brain never, ever loses its ability to adapt. This pretty much says it all, doesn't it? The athletes, the record setters, the artists, the entrepreneurs, and literally millions of everyday people are the living proof. Your ability, your potential, your value, none of it comes with an expiration date. It's not about the number of candles on the cake. It's about the fire you keep burning inside. So, what can we do about all this? Well, here's your toolkit. First, you have to consciously reject the narrative. When you hear that little voice of doubt or a comment from someone else, just call it what it is, an outdated lie. Stay active and engaged, and share the proof. The more we normalize the reality of vibrant aging, the weaker that old stereotype becomes. And please, always remember, you are experienced, not expired. I want you to let this sink in. Really, say it to yourself. Believe it. Because it is the absolute truth. You are capable, you are sharp, and you are far, far from done. So I'll leave you with this one question. Forget all the limits that society tries to place on you. What limit, whether it's big or small, are you ready to break? Maybe it's learning something new, starting a new fitness routine, or just simply refusing to let another senior moment joke slide. The power to change the narrative, it starts with you.